What's going on, my fellow rock and rollers? Don't forget to hit the bell notification icon to be notified every time I put out a new video on my channel. Now, Guns N' Roses would rule the world for 6 short years from 1988 to 1993 and remade rock and roll in their own decadent image. Of course, it didn't come without any costs, as drug abuse, infighting, and controversy seemed to tear the band apart by the mid-90s, with the only remaining member by 1997 being original vocalist Axl Rose. The last studio album from the band to feature the classic members Axl Rose, bassist Duff McKagan, and guitarist Slash would be the group's 1993 cover album, The Spaghetti Incident. It seemed like with every album release leading up to the Spaghetti Incident, the band was marred in controversy. The band's debut record, 1987's Appetite for Destruction, was criticized over its original artwork that depicted a half-naked woman, with some criticizing the band for glorifying rape. The band's subsequent release, 1988's EP GN'R Lies, created a firestorm over the song One in a Million that featured explosive lyrics against immigrants and gay people. And 1991's double album Use Your Illusion was no different, as the band was accused of being misogynistic with songs like Back Off Bitch and Locomotive. And of course, 1993's The Spaghetti Incident was no different. Only a week after the album hit store shelves in November of 1993, law enforcement and victims' rights groups began expressing outrage. What were they outraged over? Stay tuned to find out. The covers album was mostly a tribute to the glam and punk bands who influenced Guns N' Roses, including the Dead Boys, the Misfits, T-Rex, but it also included a hidden track written by cult leader Charles Manson called Look at Your Game Girl. Even David Geffen, the head of the band's label Geffen Records, wasn't aware of the song's inclusion until he saw a news report on CNN. He was appalled by the song, releasing a statement to the LA Times that read, "I would hope that if Axl Rose had realized how offensive people would find this, he would not have recorded the song in the first place. The fact that Charles Manson would be earning money based on the fame he derived committing one of the most horrific crimes of the 20th century is unthinkable to me," he'd say. And if you've looked at pretty much any photo of Axl Rose in 1993, then you'd frequently see him wearing a Charles Manson shirt in concert. He even wears one in the band's music video for the power ballad Estranged. And according to the California Board of Corrections, for every 1,000,000 copies the band would sell of the covers album, Manson would receive about $62,000 in royalties. Rose, for his part, would release a statement almost a week after the album came out, claiming the band had no intention of glamorizing the cult leader, revealing, "The reason we didn't list the song on our album is we wanted to downplay it. We don't give credit to Manson on the album, it's like a hidden bonus track." And Rose was correct, as on the packaging for the album The Spaghetti Incident, the song isn't listed and Manson isn't mentioned anywhere. The song plays after 12 seconds of silence following the final listed track, which was a cover of the Fear song I Don't Care About You. Well, you're probably wondering how the song even ended up on a Guns N' Roses album or even on the radar. Well, it was Rose's brother Stuart who brought it to Axl's attention. According to interviews with band members over the years, it appears it was the singer's idea to include the track, while the other members were reluctant, but they agreed provided it was hidden. And you're probably wondering why Rose chose the song to begin with. Well, in early 1993, his longtime girlfriend, model Stephanie Seymour, broke up with the singer, and it affected him deeply. And Rose would claim what appealed to him most about the song was, and I quote, "It's about a woman who has thrown things away. She thinks she's gaining love, but she's basically gaining sadness," he'd say. Regarding Manson possibly collecting royalties on the track, Rose would claim, "It's my understanding that the song was written by Beach Boys member Dennis Wilson," adding that in any case he was donating any personal profits from the song to an environmental group, and it seemed like at press time in 1993, nobody, including the record label, knew who owned the copyright. As for the Manson song, it first showed up on the 1970 album Lie, which was a bootleg collection of recordings issued by Awareness Records following the 1969 LA murder spree, during which actress Sharon Tate and 6 others were killed. The only members of the band who actually played on the recording included Rose himself, keyboardist Dizzy Reed, who played bongos, and I kid you not, Axl Rose's gardener, a guy named Carlos Bowie, who played guitar on the track. And Patty Tate, the sister of Sharon Tate, would release a statement slamming Guns N' Roses for releasing the song, saying, "Doesn't Axl Rose realize what this man did to my family? It really hurts and angers me that Guns N' Roses would exploit the murders of my sister and others for capital gain." And the controversy did little to hurt album sales, as the album was barely promoted by the band and served more as a stopgap for their next record. It would sell nearly 190,000 copies in its first week, with local retailers in Maryland telling the Baltimore Sun that the controversy didn't result in any backlash at their stores. Geffen Records, for their part, tried to do damage control, with President Ed Rosenblatt issuing a statement saying, "We're looking into what might be done to mitigate the situation and plan to provide support for the Doris Tate Crime Victims Bureau." And Doris Tate was the mother of Sharon Tate. Now, what's funny about this whole controversy is that many other bands had covered Manson's songs, but it never generated as much controversy as when Guns N' Roses did it. In 1994, Axl and Slash were interviewed on Rockline to promote the album. It was also the final interview the pair have ever done, and the song came up during a caller question. Here's the interview.
Hey, I'm number one fan of y'all. I had a question. Are y'all planning to pull the Charles Manson track off your album?
At this time, no, but we've also been notified by a fan that if we do pull the song, he'll sue us and Geffen Records for $1 per album sold as of the date that we pull the song. You know, he'll file this in federal court, but we don't have plans of pulling it as of now.
There was a time where we were planning on pulling it because of the fact that it was, I don't know, the messages were all crossed.
Yeah.
As far as to what we were really doing. I mean, basically all we did was do a track that had something to do lyrically with the band. I mean, or, you know.
I like the lyrics of the song. I also thought it was something that people hadn't heard, and it was a missing part of the puzzle, and almost everything about Charles Manson has been public, but this was something that wasn't public really on a big scale to my knowledge, and just thought that people would be interested in hearing it. But, you know, even one of the victim's son, who's getting money, supposedly was talking about people worshiping Charles Manson, and I was like getting a vibe that people are trying to paint a picture that I worship Charles Manson now. It's exactly, for me, the opposite of that.
It's sort of a parody almost, you know?
He's a pop cartoon icon of absolutely how far off the edge you can go, which, you know, I don't have any desire to go that far.
Really weird, because when the song was done and it was recorded and released, there was no attention drawn to it, and all the attention that has been given it so far has come from the media that's been opposing it.
Because they make the bucks off that.
And it's ridiculous. So at this point, I'm just like, screw you, whatever. Yeah. You know, it's typical. We've been going through this since we started, so I'm not fazed.
And as Axl had mentioned, I guess the royalties to this song go to the son of one of the victims of the Manson murders. They don't go to Charles Manson.
Right.
Yes, but then I did hear also about someone else saying that Charles doesn't have the copyright on that. He does, and he wants the money. So, you know, as long as Charlie's not getting it, that's cool.
Yeah.
You're probably wondering, after all these years, did Manson end up collecting royalties on the record? Well, the simple answer is no. Under a court order, the royalties would end up going to the son of one of Manson's followers' victims. One of the victims of the 1969 killing spree was Wojtek Frykowski. 22 years prior to Guns N' Roses releasing the Spaghetti Incident, the son of Frykowski, named Bartek, won a $500,000 lawsuit against Manson over the murder of his father, and as a result of that settlement, he would also collect the royalties on the track Look at Your Game Girl. Geffen Records would announce that he would collect $62,000 for every 1 million copies of the album sold. Frykowski would say in a news conference it was a small compensation for such a tragic event, but the irony of this whole thing is that Frykowski has 2 children, and they're both fans of Guns N' Roses. And following all the controversy, Guns N' Roses would promise to pull the song from all future pressings of the album, but even by the year 2000 that hadn't happened. And at Charles Manson's funeral several years ago, it was reported that the band's cover was apparently played. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. What do you guys think of Guns N' Roses' cover of Look at Your Game Girl? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, if you have suggestions for future topics, let me know in the comments. Take care.